All right, we're back out today, 3 o'clock local time. Uh, they had been forecasting the storm for a couple days. We were slated for 3 to 6 inches, I believe. Started out pretty sloppy. It was warm. I think we were right about 32, 33 degrees, which made for some pretty sloppy conditions. My plan here was to just kind of get around and open up the lot, the main driveways, and I start over here. This is some sort of school, so I figure kids would be getting picked up, so I wanted to hit this one first and get some of the parking lot opened up. Also my first time plowing with a pusher in this wet snow. It did not contain as well as I expected it to. And now here I'm over to the main office building, clearing up some of the drive lanes there. I guess I'm constantly amazed at how much snow this Case 370B can push. I was starting to see people filter out of the building, so rather than take the snow all the way back, I just started staging it at the back of the lot there. Oh yeah, I killed it here. Trying to turn too fast. But trying to balance your time. Where do you plow for the most benefit of the people coming out, trying to make it so they don't have to walk through these big snow piles to get to their car. My thought was here the snow was so heavy I didn't want to start staging it all in one big giant pile. Figure I'd start spreading it out a little bit so that it was easier to move back down. But you can see it's really starting to get pretty wet and sloppy. It's almost like a slush as opposed to snow at this point. And it behaves very differently in the pusher. It sloshes out pretty easily. This one here, when I hit the snow pile, you can see how much of that slush. There you go, all going forward. Looking back, I wonder if I might have been better off lifting the blade just a touch to let a lot of that slush out instead of pushing it along. And then it spills out the sides like that. You can see right there, just spilled out to the right a lot. And I gotta go back and clean it up now. I'm using a new camera setup here. It's more of a fixed mount instead of the head mount. Let me know what you think. But this walkway here seems to be the main walkway people are using to exit the building, get into the parking lot here. So I wanted to make sure this was fairly clean. Wasn't worrying too much about the actual parking spaces. Fair number of cars in the lot, so I knew it wouldn't be that effective to clean that up, but at least get the main driveways and the walkways cleared was my goal at this point. And there you can see the little remnants of the snow pile from last week. We had some pretty warm temps. And here I am at the third building, getting this opened up here. It's nice once that snow starts rolling like that. It seems to stay contained in the pusher pretty well, but if it gets too wet, it does not roll. It just kind of piles up and acts more like water than snow in the pusher. I should have pushed that pile a little further forward. Would have made it easier for them to get their door open, but they still had enough space, I believe. With this account, they're very adamant on where that snow pile is. They want it in that back space there. Not where I would have thought to put it, but that's where they want it, so that's where I'll put it. They also wanted me to keep it on the pavement, which is easy enough. But if you notice in the back here, you'll see that snow pile there, kind of a little bit off to the right. That's the pile from last week. It was on the pavement, but somebody moved it off onto the grass. So I'm not sure if they needed more spaces or what, but they wanted me to pile it on the pavement in this last spot here, so that's where I pile it until they tell me elsewise. For right now, I'm just staging it over here. I don't want to get too close to that red car. I want to give them space to get out, and then after they leave, I'll go back and push that snow into the parking space. But yeah, you can see we've almost got a little lake starting there. But yeah, not too much to do in this lot. Just get this driveway open. At this point, I'm just trying to clear up this slush. Our shovel guys will be here soon at this point, and they do shovel in front of the dumpster, so I try and clean that stuff up as best I can. I figure if I try and help them out at the end of the night after I'm done, I usually get done before they come for the last time, and trying to make it easy on them. That way they're more inclined to throw the snow up in the grass and whatnot instead of throwing it back in the parking lot at the end of the night, so I don't have to come back and make another cleanup round. And at this point you can see the lot's pretty well opened up. Just trying to catch a bit more of the snow here. This storm is also forecasted to go on for, I believe, 9 o'clock local. They were saying it was going to snow until. So I knew I was going to be back here a time or two to clean this up before the storm ended. But this was just trying to get the lot opened up as best I could. This one seemed to go pretty well. The cars aren't spaced out all over. And here we are back at the school. The shovel crew truck was there before, so I went back now to clear up where their truck was and clean up the lot some more. And now that I've got some of the lanes open, wasn't as quite concerned about get back. So I figure I'd stage some of the snow in the back lot there, because at this point I'm learning the more I turn, the more that slush dumps out the side. So I'll push it straight, leave it in a pile here, and then once I get this top lot cleared up, I can then push those piles in a straight line back to where the snow goes. This lot's a little challenging because it's fairly small, as you can see here. So getting a pattern worked out is not quite the easiest. And then the way the snow slushes out of the pusher when it's this wet. Now here I should have stopped there and then changed angle and pushed it out, but made the turn and a bunch of it slushed out. Just trying to keep all these dribbles under control. I don't want somebody to have to walk through knee-high dribbles to get to their car. Ran into some trouble here. The wing of the blade of the plow wanted to keep riding up the curb there. Took a little bit to get it to stay on the parking lot side of the curb. And now I can make the turn, and then I'm doing straight pushes instead of trying to turn with all that snow, which seems to work out a lot better for moving it. That way it doesn't just keep spilling out the side. And the snow wants to roll here, you see. Seems like it's a little too wet for it to roll good, but it did stay contained, which is nice. And a couple more passes like that. Get all this slop down to the pile. But at this point in the day, you can hear that 370. It didn't slip at all. It was connected real well. Later in the night, that was not the story. Being so wet and plowing it seemed to scrape off all the salt residue. Later in the night, the temps dropped down to about 25 as soon as the sun went down, and it was almost like a skating rink. Really reduced how much snow I was able to push. There's a couple spots where I had to back up and cut the pile in half to push it. It was so icy. You can see at this pass all that slush just kind of rolling out the left side there. I'll have to make another pass or two to clear that up at some point. It does seem like a lot of small steps, but I think that was the right call, staging the snow at the lot, at the tail end of the lot there, pushing it straight there, and then adjusting, making a turn and pushing it straight down to the snow pile here. It was so slushy, it did not stay in the pusher when you would turn. Now I did try a different mount this time, as opposed to the GoPro head mount. Seems like it's better. I'm not too thrilled with the way the wiper arm gets in front of the video, but it does seem to be a little easier to watch, at least to me. And now I'm over finishing clearing out the office building. And you can see once we get into more of the snow, it starts to roll. That slush didn't really want to roll well. And same thing here. I'm making this pass. I've got to make this turn. I can't stage snow right here at this bend here. There's a lot of traffic there, so I push it down to the end of the lot here where there's not much traffic, and then I can turn and push it straight down to the snow pile from here. So that seems to be the pattern that's working well for me. Now we're coming back trying to clean up the dribbles here on the crossing lane. Still kind of in that open up mode, so I'm not going to worry about the parking spaces too much at this point. It's more just trying to get the main driveways opened up and cleared up. You can see here I don't like making one big pile. I try and break it up so that there's multiple stacks of snow, so I'm not hitting all of the snow at one time. I've been finding that makes it a little easier to push it down. And at that point I'm starting to realize that there's going to be a lot of snow there, and they don't want me to trying to take up as few spots as possible. They don't want me stacking snow, but there's quite a bit of snow on the ground already, and with another 6 hours of snow on the way, I figure I better start stacking it somewhat so I'm not taking up a bunch of spots over here. But it really was a lot different pushing this wet slush snow, I learned, than regular fluffy snow. It behaved a lot different in the pusher, and it took a little getting used to on turns and such on what I can keep in the pusher versus what'll spill out. And snow definitely did not want to roll being this wet very well. But at this point, it's a lot's looking pretty good. People can get to their cars fairly easy. So I'm feeling pretty good about the situation so far. Just keep cleaning up all this slush. And I believe here I'm gonna start pushing these piles that I made earlier down. And like I said, it's amazing that 370, it just keeps pushing and pushing that snow. Definitely could hear and feel that it put a load on, but it didn't stop it. It kept going. If they get a lot of snow, we gotta come by and load some snow on a truck to get rid of it to make more space for parking. So stacked it up a little bit, but at this point the lot's pretty much cleaned up and opened up, and then I just go into cleaning out the lot. Thanks a lot for watching.